what are the key differences between these roles? I guess you've talked about that a bit. So, data analyst might not be writing code in a programming language like Python. So maybe they're
Mhm.
writing SQL queries to extract data, but they're typically not programming. I guess a data scientist will also typically be creating models. You mentioned that a bit. So the data analyst is analyzing data, creating charts, summary data, understanding business requirements, and being able to communicate those. A data scientist can build a model that can take new data that it hasn't seen before and make predictions. So that's probably like a key difference between data analyst and data scientist. And then I guess the key distinction between data analyst and data engineer that you talked about is that the data engineer, again, because of those more developed programming skills, say in Python, is able to then extract data more themselves. Maybe they can be building data-driven applications or applications that incorporate machine learning and be getting those into production, which is a big difference from, as a data analyst, you're not programming production applications.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good summary of the differences. The way I like to think about it, right, is in the pipeline of work, right? And no matter what I say, I want to make it very clear that all these positions are very, very necessary, and they all drive a lot, like tremendous value.
Mhm.
And any well-functioning analytics org will need all three of them at least. Um, in differing numbers, there's different theories as to how many engineers you should have per scientist, how many scientists you should have per analyst, stuff like that. But I like to see it this way: like you start off with a data engineer, they go ahead and get the data ready for everyone else to use. And from there, the data can go straight to a data analyst. Reporting on revenue, regulatory reporting, stuff like that can all be built by the analysts. Um, if you want to know something that the data doesn't directly say, that's where you send the data to the data scientist. And the data scientist can go ahead and build a model and say, okay, like given this information, we can assume or we can predict that XYZ is going to happen. And then from there, usually what I would do is I would suggest that you give your data scientist work to a data analyst. This is not done enough, in my opinion. But I think if you pair a data scientist and a data analyst together, you get a winning combo because the data scientist is so engulfed in the work that they're doing that presentation skills are not always top tier. But
Mhm.
a data analyst has to have top tier presentation skills as part of the job.
Mhm.
And a data analyst gets like regular practice presenting because their development cycles are usually shorter. It takes less time to build out Tableau dashboards than it does to build out machine learning models.
Mhm.
Um, and because of that, I think pairing a data scientist and a data analyst together, where the data scientist builds the model and the data analyst uh, builds out the charting mechanisms in order to actually monitor that model and make sure that people understand what's going on, um, is a winning combo. So that's another way I see it. Like there's that chain of order where it goes from data engineer to analyst or data engineer to scientist to analyst.